And it only takes somebody to believe in you as a kid and to know that they believe in you. I feel that really just lights a spark, right? That I might not be getting this at home. You might, right? But you may not. And to have another adult that looks at you and says, Blue, you're worth something, right? I believe in you and you can do this. And that comes along and coaches you, right, along the way, that you get to learn new skills. And it also teaches you that you're not going to learn or master that skill overnight, right? It's going to take some time to get there.
What if stepping off an abyss helped thousands find a place to belong? When Phil Champlin moved his family from California to Spokane, he faced uncertainty and the question of whether to return to stability in California or to push forward. Phil chose to stay and dig in. That decision led him to a newspaper listing for a struggling community sports facility called The Hub. It wasn't just a job, it became his mission. As executive director, he transformed The Hub into a thriving launchpad where kids are empowered to spread their wings, find mentors who believe in them, and discover a sense of belonging through sports and community. If you've ever questioned a risky decision, felt unsure or truly afraid of what might come next, Phil's story is proof that the unknown and that first step might be exactly where your purpose finds momentum, here on Navigating Now. Phil, thank you so much for being here. Seriously.
Yeah, you bet.
I am excited about this because you are the executive director of The Hub, which is a basic community center for all kinds of athletics and soccer. And my daughter has had the privilege of going to The Hub and practicing volleyball and soccer. And you just offer this facility that a lot of people don't even know about in the Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake area. And it's phenomenal. And if people have not seen it, they should check it out. But can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you became the executive director?
Yeah. So I'm a California transplant to Spokane.
We won't tell anybody about that.
Okay, good. That's just between us. Yes. And then so I'd worked for a sports camp company is what brought me up to Spokane. And after a few years up here, they did a restructure and a reorg. And so they eliminated my position, which was surprising to me. That wasn't part of my master plan of what I thought and how things were going to go. And so it was a little bit scary because I'd moved my family up here and we didn't have any other family up here.
Yeah.
And so was trying to figure out, God, in your master plan, what now?
Sure.
Right? Move back to California? Do I have to get a real job that doesn't involve sports and kids? And so my job became finding a job. And so, worked pretty diligently in trying to expand my network. And so was asking people about who should I go talk to, right? And so got to meet some really great people and just start to kind of brainstorm with them about this is who I am. This is where my passions are. I am looking for employment.
So you're reinventing. How old are you at this point? But you have 3 kids at the time. Is that what you said?
3 kids.
3 kids.
They were, I think, 1, 3, and 5.
Okay.
So this is about 16 years ago.
Okay.
In that space, and so maybe a little longer now, but yeah, I mean.
So you have responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
and you've been let go or laid off, and that was not a part of your master plan.
No.
And you're scrambling, and you're like, because you have options, you have these choices to make. Do you go back down to California, where you might have family to help out?
Correct.
Because having newborns and young kids is brutal, and that takes a community.
Yes.
But you decided to, okay, what can I do right now to control my situation? You started networking and creating these relationships and asking other people what you could do, right? Like what your value is.
Right. Well, and yeah, so trying to get them, some may have known me as an acquaintance. And so now I'm trying to give them some more detail about, again, what makes me tick, where I feel my skill sets are.
But you knew you wanted to keep working with kids and stay with athletics.
Ideally.
At least ideally. Okay.
Ideally. But I mean, that's a pretty finite area, right?
Sure.
And so you're looking for a job, but hopefully a career.
Yeah.
And so was doing a lot of, like I said, networking and starting to do a lot of research online to look for what jobs are out there, what kind of meets my skill set and my passions, and try to move as quickly as possible in that realm. So
Well,
then we have some security of knowing, hey, I've got a paycheck coming.
yeah. Well, and I'm also assuming that it's urgent in the sense like you have to pay the bills.
Correct.
You have these responsibilities. You have someone to answer to, aka your wife, right? Like it's
Yes.
like it has to be a team, right? And she has to
Absolutely.
believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself. And so it's
Absolutely.
like, how was that dinner conversation every night? Was it difficult? Were you like, did you feel stressed? Did you feel what helped you get through that?
Yeah. Well, I've said many times I outkicked my coverage with who I married. She's amazing, and our desire was really to have her stay home and invest in our kids. And so I think that was part of the scary part of this whole thing was, okay, are we going to have to divide and conquer more, right? Does she need to go back into the workforce?
Yeah.
Can I get it back into the workforce? And at what level that we can continue to be in that spot where she gets to stay home and invest in our kids.
Or and why pay for a nanny when you're going to work
Right.
and paying somebody
Right.
else to take care of your kid? That's a hard, but
It
it's
is.
not. There's so many people, and as a I want to say new parent, but it's like we have a 10 and a 5-year-old. But it's
Yeah.
like I remember those conversations of like, do you want to stay at home? Because there's a cost. There's a cost benefit,
is.
a opportunity cost of
Yeah.
having somebody else
Yeah.
pick your kids up. So you were juggling that conversation.
Right. And different strokes for different folks. I mean,
Yes.
some people, the both parents do want to work and that's a great way or another way to go as well. And so anyway, so for us, we were trying to figure out, okay, can I find a job, a career that allows that to continue to happen as we had wanted to do. And so had applied for a few things. Nothing really had kind of panned out or gotten to that interview stage.
Sure.
And then for some reason, I was looking through the Sunday papers and found an ad for an executive director at Hub Sports Center, and was like, well, that would probably meet some of my passion goals. What does that all entail, right?
Yeah.
And come to find out that it was a 501c3 nonprofit. Never worked in the nonprofit world.
Okay.
Didn't fully grasp necessarily what that
Sure.
meant,
Yeah.
right? And so went and applied. I think it was a 2-week process overall from application, interview, and job offer. It felt like 2 months, in that process, but started in October of 2009 as the exec director of the Hub, and I was the only full-time staff person. We had an office manager that worked part-time and then took the summers off because there really wasn't a whole lot going on in the summer. The Hub was 2 years old at that time, so they had reopened the building in 2007 in the fall, and with the hope that it would be a center for kids and families to be able to come and play and recreate.
So you kind of hit on that for anybody who doesn't know
Yeah.
at that time, the Hub was this place where there were basketball courts, there was a gym, it's an open community center, right? Like, it's like, I want to almost say like it was like a high school gym that you could go and do certain things at that was nonprofit that people could come in and see it. And that was at that point where you were jumping in, right?
Right. So
But at a larger scale. I mean, it's a large building.
It's 66,000 square feet. It's got 5 full-size basketball courts in there and some studios upstairs. And the blessing is that it was always built to be that type of space versus taking a warehouse and converting it into. And so there's some benefits to that part. But the group that reopened the Hub really wanted it to be this type of community resource, but there wasn't a lot of activity going on in that space, and they were trying to figure out how to make it all work.
Sure.
And so within the first month that I was there, sat down with the board and they basically said, look, you've got a year to figure this out, because as a board, we're underwriting the operations of the facility and the organization, and we just can't do that forever. So, hey, you got a new job. That's great. It may or may not be here in a year,
Here's a little
depending on how
pressure.
you do. Right. No pressure. Right.
Yeah.
But giddy up, let's go,
Uh-huh.
type thing. And so the board was a group of 5.
Were you scared? Like as soon as they said that, were you like, oh, or did it inspire you to challenge yourself?
I think a little bit of both.
Uh-huh.
I did not stop my job search. I became honestly,
I
right?
love that. No, that's so honest.
Right,
I love that.
right.
Yes.
But I don't know what's going to be there. I became a lot more selective,
Sure.
right, and what I wanted to pursue or look into.
Yeah.
But when your new job says, hey, you've got a year to figure it out, we're upside down right now. The board met every week because that was the urgency of it.
Wow.
And the conversations was, look, we believe in what this place can be, and we're going to go 100 miles an hour towards that brick wall. And every time we got close to it, it moved. And so now we'll keep going and until we hit that and we just can't move forward anymore. We're going to give it every effort that we can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they gave you this year. They a month into this job, you are kind of keeping your options open because you don't know if it's going to be there in a year.
Right.
And now all the responsibilities on you. You're the only full-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
You have help. What is your next move? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so start unpacking what's been done, right, and what's happened so far. Where have we gotten traction, and then what are the new opportunities that we could look into, and the box is open,
Mm-hmm.
right? There really aren't any bad ideas, but there's a lot of uncertainty about the longevity of the organization. And so as I'm out talking to different groups, either about their activity or just about this is a community resource, you all should come in and support this, either as a government,
Mm-hmm.
municipality, county, public facilities district, some of the usual suspects in town that are philanthropic and saying, hey, this place needs to be here. And the answer by and large was, we don't know if you're going to be here in a year, and we don't want to throw good money after bad, and maybe come back to us and see. And so it really became kind of us
Come
against
back
the world.
to us and see, like, here's I'm making these numbers up.
Yes.
Here's $1 million
Yes.
to get you a year, but then, and hopefully that will get you through it. But then at the end of the year, you're like, we miscalculated. We need $2 more million. It's like having
Right.
to ask again and again and again, and they're
Right.
not wanting to just do that.
No, and again, there's the first group that was in that building originally couldn't make it work.
Okay.
And so there's already one business that didn't go. Now there's this new business, the Hub, that is trying to make it work, but they don't have any financial records that they can say, hey, we are making it work, right? Or we have a pathway to make it work. And so as an investor, right, or as a philanthropist, right, I don't want to come back to you and go, hey, thank you for that wonderful donation. And every year or every month or every week, I'm back asking for more because it doesn't feel like we've got it figured out on how to make this place go.
Right.
Right. And so it became us against the world. And again, my passion, I really believe in the life lessons kids learn through play and participation. And so to have this opportunity to make this place be able to fulfill that, that was maybe inspiring to me.
Sure.
And again, a little bit about, okay, well, nobody believes we can do it at this point, right? So what have I got to lose? And let's start getting creative. Let's start figuring out, okay, how do we make this place work?
Well, you
right?
keep saying let us. So who's the us?
Us, I used.
Sure.
I don't ever believe I'm doing it on my own.
Okay.
So at that point, it was the board and myself and part-time staff.
Okay. All right.
That's kind of going into this and going, okay. But basically everybody's looking at me because the board has their own businesses and their own lives that they're running, right? This is something they believe in, but this isn't their full-time job. They're not getting paid to be on the board. And so, they were looking to me and leadership to say, hey, what do you need to make this go? Right? What would be the plan? How can we make ends meet? And for an indoor facility in Spokane, you're best time is going to be from November through February, because everybody needs to be inside, and there's not enough bandwidth at our schools or the warehouse downtown to meet the demand of what's needed for indoor space in that time frame. Because
Spokane is not a small city. The valley
No.
is not. I mean, there are so many kids that need more opportunity, and there's just not enough playground. There really isn't.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. And again, especially this indoor space, I've told people for years that I could double the size of the hub and still book out every night and weekend for 3 or 4 months a year. Now that
Wow.
leaves me 8 to 9 months a year.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
probably grossly overbuilt.
Yeah.
But in that time frame, the amount of activities that, basketball, volleyball alone, but now you've also got wrestling season that's in there too, right? Pickleball is just starting to kind of grow a little bit, and in the wintertime they can't play outside. And so you have a lot of people looking for indoor space to be able to do or grow the activities that they're doing.
Okay, so you saw a problem, and you figured that there is a possible solution. You just had to figure it out.
Right. Well, and so again, that fall winter season, we'll say easy to find groups that need space, and then to develop and cultivate that relationship with them, that they understand, what are our expectations, we understand what their expectations are, try to make those meet so that they know they've got a spot that they can count on, and really try to get annual repeatable events, right? That I know that the YMCA is going to come do their YMCA youth basketball program
Every year.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday from November through January. We're going to have YMCA basketball in there. Now, we could run our own youth basketball league. It's not rocket science. But the YMCA is a like-minded partner who believes in a lot of the same core pieces that we do. And so we chose, let's come alongside the YMCA and allow them to use our courts so that they can get another 400 to 500 kids involved in their basketball program because they can utilize our space.
Well, it's the collaboration, number one.
Absolutely.
And number two, it's like you're just growing the community and the experience of giving back to the community, because the
Yes.
it's there for all of us.
Yes.
Right. And it's all of us to take advantage of it and to honestly prosper, because, and we'll get into that. I am sure that it's like the lessons and life habits you can learn as a child or as a youth or as a kid in sports or with teams or workshop, whatever it is that you offer, just makes our community that much better.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so
As does a library. A library is the
Right.
exact same thing. Most
Yes.
people don't know about the library. They don't take advantage of it. And it's
Yes.
like so valuable and priceless.
Yes.
And I love our Liberty Lake Library. It's like everything. And people just don't understand the value that it brings.
No, and I think you forget about it until you have kids,
Yeah.
right? And then and then you
Yes.
start to go back and you're like, oh, that's right, the library.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're going to go to the library. We're going to get books. And yeah.
But at the same thing, until like having a child who has to play indoor soccer or play indoor racquetball or anything like
Right.
that, unless you know about it, you
Right.
forget.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we started to find these like-minded partners that needed space to do their event or activity and start to bring them in and start to count on, okay, we know that this group's going to be here at this time. We know this group's going to be back on an annual basis, and trying to get these big rocks in place. And again, that fall winter was easy, kind of, to get all that in, but now
Simple.
yes. And so now you're heading into the springtime and the summertime. And what do people like to do in Spokane in the spring and summer?
Oh,
They like to be outside,
yes.
right? They've been inside for a long time, so now they want to go outside. There aren't any youth leagues per se. They're going to be indoor sports through that time frame. So my first spring, summer, I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs.
Ghost town.
It is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what can we do to bring people back inside,
Yeah.
right? And the other part of this is I'm being real with people that want to come rent from us, and you show up and say, hey, I'd like to do this volleyball league. And great. We should be open when your league happens. If I can get these other people to do their event at the same time, then I've got enough critical mass that we can make that happen. Not a great sales pitch, right?
Right.
But
a promise that can't be given.
We
right?
may or may not be
Yeah,
here. But if I can get more people, then yes, we'll be here for your event, right? And so that gets you so far. And so I started in October of 2009. In May of 2010, I came to the board and I said, look, I think I can see a pathway of how to get us into being able to be financially solvent.
Love that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to need a line of credit. I'm going to need some guarantee that I can get us from May of 2010 to May of 2011. So
that you can pitch it to people and say, hey,
yes,
you can have your volleyball court
yes,
here for at least 3 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I kind of did the financials and I said, okay, I think if you guys can guarantee me this amount, then I'm pretty confident I can get us from May of 2010 to May of 2011. So the board graciously agreed. And so we started down this pathway of, okay, so what are these other events? What are these other collaborations that we can bring in? And we're pretty bare bones. Like I said, it's still me as the only full-time employee. We have an office manager that's part-time, and then we've started to hire a couple to help work some of the nights and weekends so I don't have to live there, right? My family still loved me and wanted me to come home from time to time, which is great. I appreciated that. And so started to try and put some of these pieces together. And, you know, you're not worried about the maintenance and upkeep. If it's not broken at this point, we're just gonna ignore it for a little while. And so, you know, you would have some of those emergencies that would happen. We would go to our board, or maybe they had a network in the community that say, hey, I know somebody
like
that
volunteer or discount or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I know somebody that can weld. Right. They would volunteer their time to come weld this piece that broke off or whatever the case is. Right. And so we start to get going. We ended up using about a quarter of that line of credit. And 2012 was our first year that we were fully cash flow positive, which was amazing. And so we started to, we've added some more people to the board at this point in time and tried to build out our board a little bit more. And again, I'd never been part of a nonprofit. So I'm learning how these dynamics work, right? And, you know, how do you work with a board, right? And how do you want to be intentional about who you're inviting to be part of your board?
What value can they bring? What network can they bring? What Rolodex of names and content? The welder that can help, right?
Yes. So current board members, we think about maybe a community member and say, hey, let's invite Blue to come. Blue, would you come and hang out?
I'm not on the board. Okay.
So, but we would invite you to come to a board meeting, right? And then we're like, well, Blue's, you know, all in favor of Blue joining the board.
Okay.
Right. Congratulations, you're on the board of directors. we invited you just to come check it out. And you actually showed up and you showed some interest. So we're going to invite you. And graciously, most of those people said, yes, I will do that. Right. And so we found some amazing people to kind of join us in that.
But they believed.
They believed in what we were doing.
Giving back to the community and what benefit it has and what you were doing.
Yes. So we started to turn that corner. We ended up hiring an office manager to be full-time. So now there's 2 full-time staff. And we start to kind of build out a little bit more of what we're doing. And now that we've got the financials understood and we know that we can operate cash flow positive, not easy, not pretty, but we can make it work. Now let's start looking at what is our heart, right? And we want to be able to do outreach. We want to be able to fill gaps in services that aren't being met elsewhere. And so now that we've got this part done, and this part got done without donations, because basically what we heard from everybody was, we're not sure if you all are going to make it, right? So now we decided, well, we need to start to change the narrative. And so we opened up our All-Star Breakfast fundraiser in 2014. And part of that was to come back to the community and let them know that, so I get emotional on this part because it's pretty cool, but we're coming to you, community, not out of desperation, but we're coming to you because we have opportunity. And we want to be able to do these programs and start these outreach. And so we're asking you to come alongside us. Here's our books, here's our financials. We figured this part out, right? We're financially solvent at this point, but to really be able to fulfill our mission and our purpose, we really need your support to give us the resources above and beyond surviving, right, to do outreach. And so I think that first breakfast, I think our goal was to raise $20,000 and have 200 people in the room. And we ended up with just shy of 300 people in the room, and we raised $40,000, which was super honoring and kind of told us what I felt was, you're doing a good job and we like the direction that you're headed. We're going to invest in you and this organization to do some of these things that you set out that you told us that you want to do with these resources. And so,
well, and you're gaining the trust of the community, but you're also, people are jumping on board because they see the benefit, they see the value, and you're obviously able to express that enough, right? And so, all right, so people are coming on board with the breakfast, and I've been to that breakfast, and it's wonderful. It's a great setup. Okay, so the breakfast came, you blew expectations, doubled what you thought you were going to get, and then continue, please.
Yeah, so we started an after-school program for at-risk middle school kids, and we partnered with Central Valley School District, and we were able to go to the schools. And we started with Green Acres Middle School. And we picked middle school after talking to the superintendent that middle school is really the last chance to get kids engaged in something.
Yeah.
Right? And studies are showing that if middle kids are engaged in middle school, they're more likely to get engaged in something in high school.
Yeah.
And when they're engaged in something, a club, a sport, an activity, music, art, drama, doesn't really matter, right? But they've plugged in.
Yeah.
Those kids' graduation rates are significantly higher than kids that have never plugged into anything. Those are the kids that may or may not finish high school.
Yeah.
And so we created this program for middle school kids. And my thought was this would be for at-risk kids, right?
Yeah.
So low socioeconomic, maybe single parent family. And we would do homework time with them. We would do some PE runaround time with them. And then we would do enrichment, where we would do art or drama or bring in guest speakers to plant seeds and just talk about different skills, trades, industries, talents. As we started this program and working with the school counselors and the administration, they explained to us that every kid in middle school is at risk, right? And if you think back to middle school, if anybody has middle school kids, you can identify with that because that's such a tumultuous time. That kid's body, life, head,
you could have
mental,
money and have zits and have all the issues of everybody, right? 100%.
Yeah. So we said, look, we're going to open this up. School, counselors, administration, you help us identify kids that you feel would benefit from this program.
Oh, that's brilliant.
We're not going to charge anything for them to attend, right? Because we've been able to raise these funds over here. And so we'll cover all those costs. And we're going to bring in a staff person that will be there every day that we do the program. So we did twice a week. So Tuesdays and Thursdays after school. And so this person became another anchor point in these kids' lives that knew their name and liked when they showed up, right? And the school said that they saw attendance from these kids skyrocket on those days because if they weren't in school, they couldn't go to the program.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can see the correlation is there. And middle school kids are also very fickle, right? They may like it, they may not. They may show that they like it, they may not, right? And it's really hard to program for because they are in this weird stage in life. But I knew we hit the right chord when I had a kid show up to the program that hadn't been there before. And so I was like, do you recognize this kid? And my supervisor's like, no, I don't. I haven't seen him before. So I went up and said, hi, my name's Phil. I'm the executive director here. What's your name? How did you get here? He's like, oh, well, I got on the bus because Billy said this was a great program and he wanted me to come. So I grabbed Billy and I was like, hey, Billy, I'm really glad you brought your friend. But we need to get their parents' permission and we need to have some emergency contact information, all that stuff. So can we get your parents on the phone, let them know that you're here, right? But just super excited that
the word of mouth,
and the kids said, I want to bring my friend to this program because it's great. And again, these kids came from all different walks in terms of good in school, not good in school, right? Played sports, didn't play sports. active in other clubs, not active in any clubs. And we brought 6th, 7th, and 8th graders together, right? And so that was great because now you're blending age groups. And so as these 6th graders are trying to figure stuff out, they've got a mentor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I was going to say that.
7th or 8th grader that they can kind of lean on. And then as the program grew, we brought a couple middle schools together. So we had Green Acres and Evergreen Middle School both coming to the hub on the same day. So now you're intermixing kids from different schools. So as they go to high school, right, they've got this wider friend group that they know of, right?
I love that you say that. I'm going to pause you for a second because when I taught Olympic athletes, and not everybody was an Olympic athlete that I taught, right? Within as the strength coach for all of these kids, it was so interesting because we would have different, for example, ice arenas come together. And sometimes it would come to my class and it would be 3 or 4 different ice arenas on the west side that were coming together just for my class.
Yeah.
And I intentionally mixed them.
Yes.
Because you don't know, like as soon as they leave that gym that they're at or that ice arena, you have to go out in the real world.
Yes.
And if you know more people within your community, it made it so much easier. And it also hit on the fact that they're all the same.
Right.
Just because you go to Eagles Ice Arena or Fred's Ice Arena, it doesn't matter. It's like you're all there for the same purpose, which is to learn to ice skate or to do hockey or something like that. And that is a common thing to have in common with another kid. That is that special bond that helps you grow throughout life.
Yes. No, absolutely. And so we took that program and we started to branch out into other things that we did. So we run a homeschool PE program. So giving homeschool kids a place to come inside and get physical education classes and interact socially, right, with other kids from other homeschool groups. And we started a police activity league. So we get law enforcement from Liberty Lake and Spokane Valley police departments to come play with elementary school kids from Central Valley, East Valley, West Valley School District.
Yeah.
And bring them together so they can see each other in a different light.
Yeah.
You know? And so we're always out there looking for where are the gaps in service, right? We don't necessarily need to reinvent anything, but is there some place that we can step in because either we have a great facility or we have event management expertise and we know how to put programs together and make them all work.
And you know who to target.
Yes.
And I had Greg Stern on a couple weeks ago, who was huge Hoop Fest. He played college basketball, and he still works with the youth. And he had talked about that most freshmen is the year that they stop playing sports.
Yes.
And so if you could capture them prior to that, and that sounds exactly what you're tapping into.
Yeah, as upstream as you can get, right? And again, my personal passion, I really believe in these life lessons these kids are learning through play and participation. So the sooner that we can get them involved in something, again, art, music, drama, sports, it really doesn't matter, right? But obviously we've got a sports center, so we're going to focus more on that space.
But even within that space, you give them options.
Yes.
It's not like you just have to play basketball because
correct.
Like some kids aren't going to like basketball. They're going to like, but you let them know that there's more than one option.
You can find
and then
something.
They can find something.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. And now you've got a coach typically that becomes this other adult that's interested in you and your life, right? And it only takes somebody to believe in you as a kid and to know that they believe in you. I feel that really just lights a spark, right? That I might not be getting this at home. You might, right? But you may not. And to have another adult that looks at you and says, Blue, you're worth something, right? I believe in you and you can do this. And that comes along and coaches you, right, along the way, that you get to learn new skills. And it also teaches you that you're not going to learn or master that skill overnight, right? It's going to take some time to get there. But what's going to motivate you to do that, right? Your coach or now you've got this peer family, right, that's there with you, that you all have this common goal that you want to get to. And so let's work together on this skill, right? And I might be more proficient than you at that skill, but I can teach you what I know, and then you're going to be more proficient in this skill.
To pass it
you
along
can help
to other
me
people.
With that,
right?
And so it continues to go and to grow. And
that's collaboration, and that's synergy based off of all of that. And you hit on several things that I want to hit on really quick, because Greg had also mentioned that John Stockton was his mentor.
Hmm.
And it was somebody who was also on the shorter side that believed in somebody who was shorter that could do it and
Yes.
could get to the NBA,
Yes.
even though everything stacked against you, right?
Right.
And so, but he found a mentor who believed in him, number one.
Mhm.
Number two, you're creating a platform that allows everyone to feel safe and to feel like they can find a mentor, they can reach out to somebody.
Yes.
And my platform, and I call it when I speak, is the table.
Yes.
And that is that it was my dojo. And within that dojo, I had my instructor, but then I also had who are called senpais, who are higher rank than you.
Okay.
And it is their job to teach me.
Yes.
Right. And it's just like this passing down the baton, passing. And as I learn more skills, I can pass that to the people below me. Or if I'm faster, even than a higher ranked person, that person can ask me, how did you get so fast?
Yes.
And it's just this learning environment. It's school.
Right.
It is absolutely
Right.
school in a safe environment where you have these mentors that believe in you. And it's like you want to go to school.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be called school.
No, but you saw this over the pandemic where you had kids that were A-B students, right? And then they're not allowed to go to school anymore, and or there's no extracurricular activities, right? That was their hook. That was their motivation to do well in school and to have discipline and set up their time schedule and all that good stuff, right? Now that's all been taken away, and these A-B students became C, D, or F students.
Yeah.
Because their motivation wasn't there, and that reason for going to school, paying attention in class, working on my homework, those types of things, was gone.
And I will tell my story that my grades, my instructor told me, like, if you don't keep your grades up, you cannot train here.
Correct.
And my currency, not financial, was that I wanted to train more than anything.
Absolutely.
And I loved going there. And there was no way I was going to fail at school because that meant I could not go do what I really, really loved doing. And so he knew that. My instructor knew that. My parents knew that. And I knew that.
Yes.
And you're providing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can't go into marching band unless your grades are good, right? If grades, I can't do marching band because they're not offering it anymore. What's my motivation to do my work?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I mean, all those things tie into, again, what we're trying to provide is opportunities and provide as many opportunities for as many kids as possible. We try to be very reasonable in what we're charging to be able to come and participate, or with the groups that come and bring their activity to us. I'd rather see 100 kids in there and make $10 a kid than have 10 kids in there and make $100 a kid.
Yeah. 100. Well, and you're reaching more people.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's really what it's about. And it doesn't matter if we're providing the program ourselves, or if we have a like-minded partner like YMCA or a volleyball club or a soccer club that they're providing the activity, but they can do it at a greater capacity because they can use our space.
Well, and privately, you and I had our conversation about like how it is that when people within a community see the library, for example, they're like, well, why am I going to donate to the library if I never go, right? Why am I going to donate taxes to new streets when I ride a bike? And it's like, somebody has to pick up the slack somewhere. And to make that sale to that person has been difficult, right? And I think I used the analogy with we were paying for our daughter's dental, and she didn't have teeth. So why am I paying insurance when she doesn't have teeth for 2 years? And the reason is somebody has to pick up the slack so that we all can benefit from the generation. And you came up with an amazing analogy, and I would love for you to throw that out about the bridge, the man that comes to the bridge.
Yeah.
And I that hit home with me, and it spoke so much truth to me, because that's how I feel as a parent now, and how I want to share that not only with my kids, but everyone within our community, because it's about our community. And Spokane and Liberty Lake, it is about the community.
No, it is. I think, sidebar real quick, I have loved Spokane. I'm so glad that I got to move here and raise my family
From
here.
California.
From California.
Okay.
Shh. Spokane, Coeur d'Alene communities are fantastic. And I steal this from my kids did Lego League, and they use a word called cooperation. And so there's some natural competitors with businesses, and even within nonprofits. But what I found by and large is that everybody really wants the community to be a better place.
Yeah.
And they're willing to check egos at the door a lot of times. to collaborate and come together to figure out how can we do more together than we can on our own. So
because when the sea raises, all the ships do go up. Yes.
Absolutely. So I came across this poem, and I'm failing on the writer's name right now, but the gist of the poem is that there's a man that's traveling across the country, and he's going through the forest, and he comes across this big chasm, and he's got the skill set to scale down the chasm and then get across the river and scale up the other side. And before he continues on his journey, he thinks about, there may be somebody coming behind me that can't do what I did. I'm going to build a bridge because they need to continue on their journey. But let me smooth this place out for them a little bit, and spends time building a bridge. And somebody else comes and says, "Why are you doing this?" And he says, "Well, I'm doing this for the people coming behind me," right? And so we may not know the fruits that's going to blossom from the seed we planted today, but we know that's the right thing to do. And so let's plant seeds. Somebody else is going to come through and water them. Somebody else is going to feed them. And eventually that's going to bloom and blossom. And where that person goes, what they do from there, who knows? But they had somebody that thought ahead and said, how can I, in essence, leave a legacy, right? Provide a pathway that, it doesn't mean that life's going to be easy, right? As we talked about, there's no straight lines really to get from point A to point B a lot of times. But if I can smooth this bump out, or this chasm makes it easier to cross, then that gets you a little bit farther down the road until you come to that next challenge. And then maybe you think about, guys, somebody built that bridge for me back here. I've got the skill set to get across this place. Let me smooth this place out, or let me build a bridge here for somebody else.
Or maybe I can put lights up so that people at night can travel, so more people come across. Because you don't have to know how to build the bridge. It's like you can add value, because we all have these stories and experience and knowledge that you can give to other people. And I think a lot of us forget that we are valuable, and that we have some kind of purpose being here. And it's like you can do so much more, and you have something to give back to people. And you are obviously that person thinking ahead, and you are building that bridge, and you've built that bridge. And now people have come to this bridge and they've come across it. Where is the bridge going to go to next?
Yeah.
Like, what you've taken it, and you've gained the trust of the sponsors, you've gained the trust of the community, and where are you going now? Because you're already expanding. You're already sufficient enough financially. Now it's like, where are you going to expand? How much more value are you going to bring to the community and outside the community? Because people come to the hub from all over. It's not just like Spokane Valley and Liberty Lake and Coeur d'Alene.
Right. So I'll touch on that part first.
Okay.
So as an organization, we generate about $6 to $7 million in economic impact to the community. So we're a nonprofit that's self-sufficient, but we're bringing in people from outside the community to participate in some events or tournaments or games that are spending money in hotels, retail, food, beverage. And so, like I said, we generate $6 to $7 million in economic impact. And some of these businesses are able to have more jobs available because we're sustainable year round.
Yes.
Right. So we have activities that are going on a continual basis. And
they can count on you.
They have to have staff to service these people that are coming through. Right. And so that's great. And then kind of what's next. So we had a donor that came to us at the end of 2021 and said, I love what you do with your indoor space. I've been watching you all. And what you're doing for our kids and families with your indoor space is phenomenal. Have you ever thought about doing something outside? And I said, well, I mean, yes. I mean, we dream big dreams, but we're not in a position to do that at this point. And they said, well, what if I gave you the money to buy the 17 acres that's right next door to your facility, and you could build an outdoor space there? And after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I said, well, thank you, very honoring. Let us do some homework first. right? Let us make sure that the need we feel is there is actually there.
Yeah, because you could buy it and it doesn't do any good.
Right.
Right.
Right. And let us see, is it feasible to build something out? And then ultimately, is it sustainable? Right? Because I don't want to have to come back or have this donor have to put money in year after year after year, right?
Which is what you were afraid of in 2009.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you had learned this lesson as a leader. You grew.
Yes.
Because you didn't expect to be the leader of this group.
Right.
Right. But then along the way, over the years, you've learned how to talk, how to pitch, how to network, how to give peace of mind to people who want to invest and who want to share and sponsor.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it's a testament to this person that came up and basically affirmed that and said, you've done a great job with what you've been blessed with so far. Can we expand your capacity to serve?
Yeah.
Right. And so the answers all came back yes. And so we accepted that donation and we purchased the 17 acres. And the master plan is to build 4 synthetic turf fields, because in Spokane County, there were only 2 synthetic turf fields that the public could access out of Dwight Merkle, and that was it. And you think about a community our size, and you think about the climate zone that we're in, so under-resourced in that space. Excuse me. And so we were able to raise money and go out and build 2 fields. We still are in active fundraising at that point to pay that part off, because again, we want to be good stewards of the resources we have. Once we have the line of sight on how we're paying that off, we'll start looking at how do we build 2 more fields. So we have that 4. And moving from 2 fields to 4 fields is really a 3x impact, because the events and activities and tournaments that you can do on 2 fields gets much greater when you get to 4. 4 is kind of a magic number in that space.
Okay.
And so we've already seen, so we opened up those 2 fields in November of last year. And we've already seen about 60 to 70,000 kids and families on there between then and now. And so the need is there.
Yeah.
And we're filling part of that need now. There's some other groups that are starting to look at building more fields as well. But the reality is Spokane could accommodate probably 12 to 20 synthetic turf fields that the public could access.
Yeah. Because it's hard for everyone on the north side of Spokane to make it all the way out to the valley and vice versa. I mean, it's a huge, we're the second largest city in Washington State.
Yes.
And to believe that there's only a couple synthetic fields is unbelievable. And I had the pleasure and the honor of you showing me the fields several weeks ago. And it's not just like a soccer field. It can be lacrosse. It can be football. It can be all of these different sports. And it could be youth soccer, not just a USL style soccer club. And it is amazing, because you had mentioned that even in the winter, you can play on it more because it's not real grass. It's not going to melt, or it's going to, you can get the snow off easier and push it off. So it's like, it's not only a 3 or 4 month little experience, and you're just offering that much more to our groups or our community.
Yeah. Well, and so it's lessons that we've learned, right? So one of the reasons why the hub became successful is that it was able to be multiple things to multiple groups, right? As we talked about earlier, it's not just basketball. But we can do volleyball in there. We do pickleball in there. We do indoor soccer in there. We've had remote control airplanes flying around in there.
I loved that story.
It's a great space that we can do a lot of different things in, and have done a lot of different things in. And so that allows us to not be pigeonholed into one season or one sport. And so we're able to kind of morph and move and grow as the year goes on to what is the need this time of year. Right.
What do you give credit to of that? Is that your ability to think outside the box and be creative, or is it your board? Is it the team? Is it everyone that now works at the hub? Like, what consistently meets the need and brainstorms? Is that just a collaborative thing, or what is that?
Yes, I mean, I like to. I'm the guy in the chair, right? And I've become the face of the organization. But really, it's the board, it's the staff that I've got that's working with me. It's community members that come in and take a tour and go, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing this?" Right? And that goes back to that remote control airplane flying. I was giving a tour to a gentleman and his friend, and they were looking at the space, and they were like, you've got like 30-foot high ceilings in here. Have you ever thought about doing this? Right.
Yeah.
And so the Spokane Sports Commission has come in and said, hey, have you ever thought about, could we do USA Boxing National Championships here? I think we could put a couple rings on these basketball courts and have, 3 to 4 boxing rings and do this. And we've had 24 ping pong table tennis tables in there. And so it's being open to these different ideas and realizing that you don't have all the answers, but let's have lots of conversations, right? And let's develop relationships and rapport with all these different groups so that we want every event that comes through there to be successful, right? Because they're more likely to come back again, and they're more likely to tell a friend.
Yeah, I love that.
Hey, I had a good experience here, right? And so the more of those big rocks that I can get in place, I know sustainability-wise, I know where the bulk of my revenue stream's coming from. And so the donations, the fundraising that we do really go towards those outreach programs and events because we figured out how to do the regular operations, right? And so the lessons we learned with the indoor place we're able to apply to our outdoor fields. And so to make those multi-purpose fields, right? They're not just one sport, but we can do a variety of sports out there. We've got marks in there to do 60-foot base paths. So we can do softball or coach pitch or t-ball, baseball out there. We could do spike ball out there. We've got girls rugby group is coming out to teach girls rugby right now, which is kind of fun too.
Well, and one of the pain points you had mentioned to me is that you don't need to have a huge staff, like schools, for example. It's like, you need this person here and this person. It's like you offer everything. So you only need one person there versus 15. And it's like what you're able to do as a huge whole versus just pigeon-toeing yourself into one little thing is just, I'm assuming it helps you exponentially grow too.
Well, coming from a space of we'll say frugality, right? Where we didn't have 2 nickels to rub 2 nickels together. We're very conscious about how we bring things forward. And so that's one of the beauties of collaboration as well, right? So when the soccer club's going to come in and run soccer practice, I don't need to have a soccer expert there to run that because the soccer club has the soccer experts there. I need somebody there that can maintain and just facilitate the fields and let people know where to go and make sure that we're taking care of our end. But we don't have to be an expert there. And then when we find that gap in service, to either hire somebody or to contract with somebody to come in and teach that skill or teach that sport so that, again, it's not somebody that we have to have on staff full time to do that, but we can outsource these different pieces.
Well, I think that goes for every industry though, too. When you're starting a business, everybody wants the grandeur of like, oh, I have this giant facility with 50, you want 15 soccer fields. Like that would be awesome. But let's start with 1 or 2, right? And so it's like, even though you want to expand quickly, it's like, let's look at the reality, and the way that you did that is coming from frugality, but then also utilizing that network of like, who's going to help us weld this? Who's going to help in and clean up this board? Like when the airplanes are flying, if they ruin one of the basketball courts, like who can help fix this at a minimal cost or for free or at a donation or something like that out of their goodness of their heart, right? And when you're starting a business, you have to think like, how can I do this on a smaller scale, but then open up obviously and meet those doors. But it's expanding at like, let's call it a crawling space versus like, let's sprint all out. And you did it the correct way. And you did it by gaining the trust of the community, gaining the trust of the board and then the sponsors and people who donated. And you've just been building out and you've become successful at it. Your bridge is built and you're continuously expanding that bridge. What is next on the horizon for you guys? Because I know that the USL just came in as being a part of you guys. So what direction are you going? Like, where do you see the biggest growth right now coming to the hub?
I think continuing this outdoor space and just the scalability, right? Of I can do this with this much, but then if I get to here, then I can serve more and in bigger capacity, right? And so figuring out what those next steps are of we're kind of proving the model right now with the 2 fields. And we're finding these partners in these groups, and now my staff's also starting to figure out, okay, where are those gaps?
Yeah.
Right? Where can we step in and provide some additional programming or opportunities that isn't being met elsewhere or with an outside group? And so as we're building that piece in, because we're not quite a year into it yet, we'll start to know where those big rocks are.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that this group's going to be in at this time every year, and we're going to start to have this tournament this time every year. And so then to get to 4 fields, again, expands our capacity to serve and gives us that next group, that next circle of, okay, well, they didn't want to do that event here because they needed more than just 2 fields.
Yeah.
Right? To be scalable and to be efficient, we need to have 4 fields. But we're also collaborators. So I look at the development they're doing out at Plants Ferry Soccer Park, and they're looking at adding some synthetic turf fields there. And so great. So now we could work together, right? And we can provide a bigger tournament or a bigger event because we can use 2 or 4 fields at the hub, and we can use 3 or 6 fields at Plants Ferry, right? And then Dwight Merkel.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they build something out in Airway Heights, or they build something on the north side or on the South Hill, why not work together?
Well,
right?
You mentioned that's how the Olympics works too. It's not like the Olympics doesn't have just the Olympic grounds where there's 50 tennis courts, and it's like they utilize all the schools, all the colleges, all the platforms, and it's all for the community. So everyone can prosper from the Olympics coming to your town. And you're just doing that on a non-profit side of it, right? But I mean, that's what it is.
Yes.
Well, I love that. Where can people find out more about what you're doing, and what has been the hardest challenge for you that maybe you didn't expect as the executive director of the Hub?
Well, I'll answer the easy one first. So go into our website, which is hubsportscenter.org, is the place to kind of see what's going on there. I love giving tours. I mean, pictures will tell you one story, but actually coming and seeing it in person, you get a better feel for the magnitude and the size of what it is.
Yes, and I will attest to that. It's so amazing. You walk in, you're like, wow, this is so great for kids. MMA or boxing or tennis, and it's like the soccer fields were just beautiful. It reminded me when I went to UW, the Seahawks needed a new place to practice, and so they put the synthetic down at UW Stadium. And so it was like working out on that. Yeah. I felt like an NFL player. Like I was like, wow, how awesome, right?
Yeah.
And the only way that they were able to do that is because of the collaboration with the Seahawks. And so that experience of walking onto the field, it was exactly the same for me.
Yeah, and we want our kids to have first-class facilities, right? And so they don't have to travel to Seattle or to Portland or to Boise to get a first-class facility or first-class experience. And so we're building that here. So they can stay home and do those things. Still, travel and have different experiences other places, but you don't have to travel every weekend to someplace else and outsource all that.
Well, you've knocked the ball out of the park with the facility and what you offer for sure.
Thank you.
So now to the hard question, and that is, what is something that you did not expect as a challenge of being the executive director of the Hub? What was the hardest thing for you to deal with? And maybe you're still going through that.
Yes. I mean, it's always challenging you want to meet every need, right? And you want to fill every gap. And yet you can't do that, especially early on when you're just trying to establish yourself and try to figure out, okay, what can we do and what can we be the best at, right? And so if you're trying to be the best at this right away, that's going to be really challenging. So let's focus on this part, right? And let's try to be the best at this. And then once we're there or getting there, maybe we can expand a little bit. And now let's try and be the best here. And so I'm a dreamer and a realist all at the same time, right? I see the forest and I see the trees. And so I've got big visions of what I want to do and where I want this thing to go. And so it's difficult and frustrating at times not to be able to do everything today, but to work towards that and continually moving forward, right? Slow progress is still progress. So how do we continue to move forward and build our internal team, keep a great group of people on our board of directors, that keeps us grounded and also keeps us looking to the future. And so it's not like we've arrived, let's put our feet up on the table and lean back and just kind of go, wow, are we amazing, right?
Yeah.
But hey, and not to diminish what we've done either,
Yeah.
right? Hey, these are great things,
Yeah.
but there's still a kid out there that doesn't have the opportunity to do this. How can we create a space that gives them the opportunity and or the resources to be able to come do this? Because again, to me, it all comes back to that. Our purpose as an organization is to provide events that have a positive impact on youth and community.
Yeah.
So how do we keep coming back to that and find that next event that's going to provide that opportunity for this kid to have this positive experience and maybe be that spark, right? And we don't get to know all the stories that come out of there, but I hear enough here and there that are encouraging to me
To keep you going.
to keep going and knowing that we're making a difference in what we do. And so I'd love to know every story, but the story may not be realized in the time that they're here.
Yeah.
Right.
Years down the
seed
road.
was planted.
Yes.
That they look back down the road and they go, you know what? I had the opportunity to do that program at the hub and I met Coach X, or I became best friends with this person, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be the best man at my wedding or my maid of honor now.
Oh,
right. It's stuff like that again, I know is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to know firsthand per se, but we'll get a nugget here or a nugget there that
Is that what keeps you going?
yes. As we mentioned earlier, I've got 3 kids. And so to see them grow and develop and to see them have these friendships that they've made growing up by being active, not always in sports,
Yeah.
right? But being active and engaged in these different pieces that help kind of create and shape who they are, right? My wife and I do our best to invest in them and try and give them stuff. But as you have kids as well, sometimes your voice isn't the one that they hear all the time.
No.
Right. And it's a friend, it's a coach, it's a mentor that says the exact same thing that you did as the parent.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when
they
the
hear
kid
it a
goes,
different way. Same thing.
God, I heard Mr. So-and-so say that. And that was an amazing. And you're like, okay. But to see how that's benefited them as they've grown up and to see them now to give back. So side story, we created a dads and dudes night at the hub. So my daughter was my oldest and we did the father-daughter dance thing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Great time, right? Was looking for something similar to do with my boys. Nothing out there.
Uh-huh.
I was like, well, fortunately, I know a 66,000 square foot sports facility. Let's do dads and dudes night. And so we created this ADD theater, right? Where you've got basketball on this court and pickleball here and volleyball there and soccer here and cornhole and table tennis and martial arts and whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So you pay, I think it's $15 for a father and son, show up and we've got everything for you. And for 3 hours, you can just spend intentional time with your kid.
I love
and
that.
play and just have that same kind of connection as the father-daughter dance thing.
Yeah.
And so my boys came and they were part of it initially. And then as they got older and into high school, they came back and volunteered. And so they were the court monitor for basketball or the
that's
court
cool.
monitor for pickleball or whatever that was and help facilitate the event for other fathers and sons to come in and do that. And so yeah, those are the things that keep me going, that knowing that we're providing opportunities for these types of experiences to happen and hopefully, plant that seed or light that spark in that next kid that becomes the
doctor that saves somebody's life or something like that. And
or a successful business person that employs other people, right? And learned how to be hopefully a good boss, right? Or a good coworker, right? It's the body has many parts, right? And the finger is no more important than the nose or the brain or the heart or everything's got to work together.
Yeah.
And so wherever you fit into life, right? You could be the best volunteer out there because you learned about these skills growing up and you want to be able to give back. And you're in a position that you can volunteer your time.
Well, and it's an investment into our community
Absolutely.
But it's also an investment into yourself because you're growing and learning at the same time. And you're providing this ability to invest into our community, and you are making a difference in this world, Phil.
You.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate what you've given for the ability for our daughter, and our son is coming up. I'm going to do Dads and Dudes for sure, and be a part of your breakfast as well. And I will point people towards you, but I am just so excited about what you're doing for our community.
Thank you.
And I want people to reach out to you and to at least visit the hub, because it's about making this difference in our community. And I will say that for me, one of the greatest rewards is because you don't know the difference that you're making for people. And I just went to my a friend's wedding 2 weeks ago, and it was like, she was one of my students, right? And it's like,
that's awesome.
I made a difference, a little bit of a difference enough to be invited, that I was special enough to her, for her to feel like I could be there. And that is the greatest honor.
Absolutely.
And to hear these little stories of like when I would come back and I would take my martial arts school or dojo from Seattle, and I would come back to Spokane. I was coming back and I was able to teach everybody who didn't know me here.
Yes.
Right? And it was just like these great experiences. And then when people come to me, they're like, do you remember when you taught this class? I'm like,
yes.
No, but I'm glad you remember it, right? Because I did something, I sparked something in you, and we all have that ability. And you were absolutely doing that with the hub. And I will point people towards you, and I cannot wait to see that the four fields next time.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to that. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you for what you do for our community.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you so much for listening to Navigating No. If this episode brings you value, or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.